I mean by observe? It's not like human beings are in a zoo that you can walk around and check them out in different situations, but you can actually check them out in different situations. You know, this is just a few seconds of people walking by, but already I can read enough to speculate on what I think they might be feeling. Look at how this guy is balancing on this foot right here. And he's definitely leaning away from this guy. I watch and I think he's trying to look engaged, but he's trying to stay relatively neutral. If you look at the slant on his hips, he's kind of making himself look a little more relaxed than he is. His shoulders are down, and yet, you know, and his neck is down and forward, and he's actually got eye contact with this guy, but his arms are in front of him. They're protecting himself a little bit. And look at how both of them are, you know, she's sort of leaning in towards him and he's leaning in towards her. So they're kind of looking for each other for support. This guy's trying his hardest. His feet are spread wide, and look at how his feet are out. Even though he's got his hands in his pockets, he's got his elbows out and his torso open. It feels like this is this character's way of expressing his confidence. They don't really know each other very well. They may have met each other once at some, you know, somebody's dinner party or some work event. They're just acquaintances. They're not really close friends at all. These people look like that they are really trying to appear to have a close relationship. This woman, I think, is so great because she's so relaxed, or at least she's good at acting like she's relaxed. Look at how every part of her body is draping over itself. Look at how curved her spine is. Hips are relaxed way back. Every part of her body is attempting to look like she is fully engaged. She has this facial expression on her face right here, the eyebrows kind of up, the mouth pursed. It's almost a forced sense of attention. And here's a great point, is that a lot of our body language tries to portray what we want to display to the people around us. It's not always an accurate representation of what we feel. But how do I know she's relaxed? Well, it's how she's distributing her weight. If I made this as a cube, you know, the axis of that cube really tilts back. She's letting so much weight sink into that chair, while this woman over here has this awesome straight, you know, and squared off shoulders and squared off hip. That's kind of just straight up. So she's trying to portray this air of confidence and authority and not aggressiveness, just she's speaking, and she's speaking probably about something that she needs to feel authoritative about. Not only is it communicating how each of these characters feel through the way that they are holding their body weight, the way they are holding their balance, what they are centered around. She kind of really just allowing this little cradle of goodwill to kind of sit right there. This woman's sort of very chest, she's very up here. Her sense of weight distribution and balance is very rigid and very straight, while this woman's sense of weight distribution and balance is distributed everywhere. Some of my favorite stuff to look at is really classic cartoon posing, because they spent so much, they gave so much care to the anatomy of the character, to the weight distribution of the character, to the balance, to the force. This one pose, you know, the weight distribution is beautiful. You know what I mean? You've still got this great simple S-curve through the body. You know, the weight is right here. This little, right there on the back of his heel is just holding up his body weight, as well as being propped up on the hand up here. And this straight arm, the weight, you know, hanging down on that hip, and that curve through the spine, and that bone sticking up over there, and the shoulders kind of slacking down the other way. The tilting of the head to be non-aggressive. Most of what I really love is that it's based on real life observations of what happens in the human body during moments of extreme relaxation, in this case, or a display of nonchalance, and you know, represented anatomy in this, and represented weight and represented balance. Look at how this leg, this knee is hanging down really great. There's actually weight on that foot You know, that's not just sitting there on its toe, it's actually pressing down on its foot. Great little series here. Really nicely posed. A really nice line of action through the body. And that line of action, again, is based on the anatomy of the character, and it's based on how that character at that moment is allowing their weight to be distributed and how relaxed those muscles might end up being. So even this wrist coming through here is so, look at the nice drapey, that is the most relaxed hand ever. This hand is the most relaxed hand ever. There's even little slopes in the arms there that make it feel relaxed. The spine is super curved because there's weight right on her hips back there, and there's weight on her elbow, and this is where, this is where she's holding herself up, so this part of her body is drooping. She's allowing gravity to pull it down. Love this little sequence of dancing. This is an artist who really understood and watched the mechanics of dancing. That real sense of balance, that real sense of force and weight being pulled against each other. Look at that great distribution of weight. It's caricatured, it's exaggerated, but it's based on real observations of real, jitterbug dancers from the era. Standing up and they're more relaxed and upright, pulling against each other and creating an overall sense of balance as a unit. Her spine is pulling away from him. If she were fully engaged as a dancer, she probably would be curled in to him. This old woman is obviously just having an exciting time by herself. Everything is centered all up here on her. All right, so if I were going to try to interpret a pose in a drawing, I really enjoyed this woman's posture. What's the overall attitude of her body towards the woman that she's talking to? What's her body's relationship to the chair that she's sitting in? The consistency or inconsistency in body parts and facial expression. All these things that I can observe about her, put into my drawing, push in a way that makes it the most clear. I want to look at where was her hips. I want to start putting these masses, and I really like that curve. I really want to get a serious curve through that body to really get that abdomen tucked in. Maybe her butt is really sunk into that chair even more, and I can have a lot of fun, finding that gesture. I love this kind of really extreme. So there's a little bit of tension in there. She's trying to push that knee towards the woman she's talking to. She actually has her head propped up quite a bit. So could I exaggerate that? Could I kind of tilt it even up a little farther so she's tilting her neck down and trying to get underneath the gaze of the woman she's talking to? If this arm is sort of drooping a little bit, I'm going to make it really droop. I love that feeling of droop, so I'm going to get a little bit of that kind of like fat of, the meat of the arm hanging up over there. A little bit of curve. I'm going to exaggerate the curve of her arms there. All of this is to kind of fit this flow, this S flow, and she's going to feel that much more relaxed in there. And I'm not able to see what's happening with her foot, but can I make a guess? Can I say that she is trying to maybe just point it down so it's not flexed up? And what could be happening with her other foot? Could she be on her toe? Maybe up there. So these are the sorts of things, if I'm posing anything, a drawing, a CG character, observe the world and record what people do. Record your own reference. What is every part of my body doing? How am I distributing that weight? How tense or loose are my muscles? What is my face doing? What is the angle of my head? Where in general am I centered? What part of my body am I trying to protect or express? All of these elements should come through in any medium of animation that you're using, whether it's really simplistic cartoon flat drawings or very highly detailed CG characters. Exaggerating these observations is what helps you communicate clearly to your audience and tell the story of that one moment. And as you string these clear moments together based on your astute and detailed observations, you will create a narrative that I relate to on a mental level, but also in a physical level. And so get out there, go be creepy at coffee shops, and Just don't get caught filming people. That's all. All right. Hope this was helpful. See you guys later.